Jeffrey, did you kill your wife?
No, I didn't.
You said you were innocent.
I am innocent.
Well, then what happened?
God will vindicate me.
What do you have to say about this hearing?
This is some bull. God will vindicate me.
You say you're innocent?
I'm innocent. Yes, I am.
In the early hours of June 29, 2017, a tragic crime shocked the peaceful community of Lake Worth Beach, Florida, when a husband would kill his wife for a $500,000 life insurance payout.
Hello?
Thank you for calling Northwestern Mutual. This is Carrie. How can I help you? I understand you have some questions.
About the beneficiary information?
And you were the spouse, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually seeing on the application here that you were not listed as beneficiary.
Oh, wow. Is it the kid?
No, and unfortunately I can't disclose that. That's considered confidential, and I can only speak to the beneficiary on file.
Okay, I gotta figure out who is. Oh, wow. Dang, she didn't change it in time.
At around 2:17 a.m., the Lake Worth Police Department received 2 frantic 911 calls reporting that a pregnant woman had been shot in her bed while she was sleeping. When officers arrived at the scene, they found the victim lying in a pool of her own blood with a single gunshot wound to the head. The crime scene was chilling. No signs of forced entry, no obvious motive for robbery, and a seemingly random act of violence in the quiet home. But when the witnesses were questioned, something didn't add up. They claimed that an intruder had shot only the pregnant woman, even though there were 3 other adults in the house at the time. What made it even more suspicious was that the gunman had left the scene without taking anything. No valuables, no money, nothing. As detectives pieced together the details, they couldn't shake the feeling that this was no random attack. The more they investigated, the more the story began to unravel, revealing a shocking conspiracy that would shake the family to its core. In fact, cases like this echo one of the stories we've covered before. Do you remember the case of a 43-year-old George Young, a father of 3 sons, whose wife planned his murder for his life insurance? If you have not watched this, I'll leave the link at the end of this video. Now, let's look at the tragic life and death of Makeva Sekenya Harold Jenkins.
This is what you do when you get your tax refund. You spend money on shoes. At Legal Tax Solutions, we can maximize your return so you can buy all the shoes you want.
Makeva Harold Jenkins was born on August 9, 1983 in Belle Glade, Palm Beach County, Florida. Raised by her grandmother, Makeva was special from day one, according to her aunt, Sabrina Yarnes, who described her as a hard worker and a model student. Makeva wasn't born into wealth, but she had the drive. With a drive and ambition to create a successful life for herself, it was no surprise when she became a successful entrepreneur. She was known as a popular and driven teen, selected as the homecoming queen, and always surrounded by friends. After graduating high school, Makeva attended the University of South Florida. Despite becoming a single mother to her daughter, Asinkaya, she persevered, earning her bachelor's in criminology. She didn't stop there. Not only did Makeva graduate, but she also went on to earn her master's degree in social work, demonstrating her commitment to education and success. She was passionate about entrepreneurship, and after experiencing multiple setbacks, she founded the Prime Enterprise Group in 2013, a consulting firm that helped aspiring business owners with business planning and coaching.
Hi everyone, my name is Makeva Jenkins, business strategist and coach with the Prime Enterprise Group. I help entrepreneurs build their business from the ground up by laying a solid foundation. That said, I'd love for you to join me tomorrow for a Facebook Live broadcast on the principles needed to lay a solid foundation. Make sure you've liked my business page so that you'll receive notification when I'm going live. Tomorrow, 12 noon, I hope you can join me. See you around the web. Bye.
She had worked hard to rise above her circumstances, building a life in which she could proudly say she went from homelessness to financial independence, making a 6-figure income by 2015. But Makeva's personal life had its ups and downs. While she was a fantastic mom to Sinkaya, both of them were best of friends. always harboring entrepreneurial aspirations, but Makeva still longed to get married and have a family. So it was no surprise when she caught the eyes of a young man who would later betray her trust in the most devastating way. Makeva first met her future husband, Yuri Jenkins, in 2009 during a New Year's Eve celebration at church. Yuri, the charming son of a pastor, quickly captivated Makeva's heart with his warm smile and easygoing nature. Despite her family's concerns and their advice to take things slow, Makeva couldn't deny the connection she felt with the handsome barber.
I don't know the words. You my wife, B. Yes, I'll be your wife.
Their relationship moved swiftly, and not long after they met, Makeva found herself pregnant with their first child. But what seemed like a fairy tale quickly turned into a nightmare of secrets and betrayals that rocked their family. After the birth of their son, the couple exchanged vows in a heartfelt church ceremony, surrounded by the love and support of their close friends and family. Their marriage, though young, seemed full of promise. Over the years, they welcomed a second child and were eagerly anticipating the arrival of their third. From the outside, they appeared to be a picture-perfect family, with their growing children and shared dreams of building a future together. However, behind closed doors, not everything was as perfect as it seemed. Rumors of cheating and infidelity began to surface, casting a shadow over their once loving relationship. Makeva, heartbroken by the betrayal, struggled to cope with the emotional toll it took on her. Despite the tension that lingered between them, she tried to forgive Yuri and move forward, determined to keep their family intact for the sake of their children. Little did she know that the unresolved issues and simmering resentment only grew, and in the days leading up to her tragic murder, those issues would come to a deadly head. On June 29, 2017, at approximately 2 a.m. in her quiet home, filled with love and laughter, Makeva, who was 8 months pregnant with her third child, was fast asleep in her bed when her life and the lives of her family was shattered forever. She was shot in the head while resting peacefully, completely unaware of the horror that was about to unfold. At the time of the attack, her husband Yuri and her brother Marquavius Greer were both in the house. The family's makeshift garage barber shop, a space where Yuri often worked, became the unexpected sight of terror. A masked gunman barged into the room, brandishing a weapon and demanding money at gunpoint. The intruder's intentions were unclear, but his presence quickly escalated the situation into something far more sinister. Despite the overwhelming fear and danger, Yuri remained remarkably calm. He somehow convinced the gunman to allow their friend Dimitri Dale to take their children downstairs away from the immediate threat. But the night was far from over, and the danger was only beginning to unfold. Meanwhile, the assailant escorted both Yuri and Marquavius upstairs, away from the rest of the family. But even as they were moved away, no one can anticipate the true horror that awaited them upstairs. It was then that the killer, with chilling precision, entered Makeva's bedroom. There, she lay unaware and defenseless, her life taken in an instant when the gunman shot her at point-blank range. The crime scene was chilling. No signs of forced entry, no obvious motive for robbery, and a seemingly random act of violence in the quiet home. But when the witnesses were questioned, something didn't add up. They claimed that an intruder had shot only the pregnant woman, even though there were 3 other adults in the house at the time. What made it even more suspicious was that the gunman had left the scene without taking anything, no valuables, no money, nothing. As detectives pieced together the details, they couldn't shake the feeling that this was no random attack. The more they investigated, the more the story began to unravel, revealing a shocking conspiracy that would shake the family to its core. The police responded quickly after receiving the frantic 911 calls, and once on the scene, they found Makeva lying lifeless in her bed, her head exposed from the fatal shot. Marquavius and Yuri were questioned about the events leading up to the murder. Both men seemed shocked, but as investigators delved deeper into the case, they began to notice inconsistencies in their statements. At first, detectives speculated that the crime might have been a robbery, gone wrong, but nothing was stolen. They also considered a possible drug connection, though no evidence of that was found either. But the case would soon take a dramatic turn. Marquavius told police that the voice and description of the intruder sounded familiar, almost like a friend Dimitri brought to play basketball the previous afternoon.
It was like around 2 o'clock in the morning. Halfway through the haircut, somebody walk in with a I'm like, man, what the world going on? He walks over, snatches my barber shirt off me, and throws me down on the ground. Like, get down. You think this a game? This ain't no game. Ain't nobody playing here.
This led investigators to focus on the people closest to Makeva, including Dimitri, Yuri's friend, as he was a familiar face in the Jenkins home and had been present earlier in the day. The police recovered his car near the crime scene and found a receipt for a meal from a Miami sub-restaurant. CCTV footage showed Dimitri with a man who was later identified as Jovan Marquise Joseph. When questioned, Jovan initially denied any involvement, but that would quickly change. As police analyzed cell phone records, they confirmed he had been in the vicinity of the Jenkins home at the time of the murder. Marquavius also told the police how he had seen Jovan and Dimitri engrossed into conversation, but fell silent when he arrived. Confronted with the evidence, Dimitri broke down and revealed everything to the authorities. He confessed to his role in the murder, revealing that Jovan had killed Makeva for $1,500 up front, with the promise of an additional $20,000 once her life insurance payout came through. The plot was born out of Yuri's desperation for money, as he had cheated on Makeva, impregnated another woman, and owed child support. Makeva's life insurance policy was the key to solving his financial problems, and Yuri was willing to go to any lengths to secure it. As the investigators began to piece together more disturbing details, despite Yuri's continued claims of innocence, his behavior became more suspicious by the day. Detectives quickly realized that the murder was far from a random act. Makeva's life had been meticulously planned out, with Yuri having orchestrated everything from the murder to the subsequent cover-up. It was no surprise to investigators that Yuri's desperation for money played a central role in this tragic event. But the discovery of a crucial piece of evidence finally cracked the case wide open: the phone recording of Dimitri. The recording revealed that Yuri had openly discussed wanting to kill Makeva, believing that her life insurance policy would solve all of his financial problems. He had been struggling with mounting debts, including overdue child support payments, and had even been involved in a relationship with another woman. With everything falling apart, Yuri's decision to hire a hitman to kill his pregnant wife seemed like a twisted, calculated solution. After Dimitri's confession, the investigation moved swiftly. Yuri's involvement was confirmed when it was revealed that he had solicited Jovan to kill his wife. In a shocking move, Yuri even attempted to collect the $500,000 life insurance payout after Makeva's death, though he was not listed as her beneficiary.
Hello?
Thank you for calling Northwestern Mutual. This is Carrie. How can I help you? I understand you have some questions.
About the beneficiary information?
And you were the spouse, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually seeing on the application here that you were not listed as beneficiary.
Oh, wow. Is it the kid?
No, and unfortunately I can't disclose that. That's considered confidential, and I can only speak to the beneficiary on file.
Okay, I gotta figure out who is. Oh, wow. Dang, she didn't change it in time.
On August 31st, 2017, Jovan Joseph was arrested and indicted for first-degree murder. He had been paid up front for the murder and had been promised a share of the insurance money. Meanwhile, the police now had enough proof to arrest Yuri Jenkins. In May 2022, Yuri was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. In court, Yuri's actions spoke louder than his words.
Yuri, did you kill your wife?
No, I didn't.
You said you were innocent.
I am innocent.
Well, then what happened?
God will vindicate me.
What do you have to say about this, Yuri?
This is some bull. God will vindicate me.
You say you're innocent?
I'm innocent. Yes, I am.
New at 5:30, shocking new revelations in the death of Makeva Jenkins, the mother of three. killed in her own home, as her husband is held behind bars for her. New documents show this crime didn't just take her life, but also the life of her unborn child. CBS 12's Nayela Charles is live in the Breaking News Center with this new information in this heartbreaking case. Nayela?
Yeah, Liz, the victim in this case was pregnant when she was killed. These court records here shed some light on why a 19-year-old was also charged with murder in connection to Makiva's death. Deputies believe the teen killed Makiva after receiving just $1,500 from her husband.
Yuri, did you kill your wife?
No, I didn't.
Yuri Jenkins spoke those words after deputies arrested him for the killing of his wife, 33-year-old Makiva Jenkins, in December. Back in June of 2017, Yuri told deputies a masked gunman stormed into their Boynton Beach home and killed Makiva steps away from her children. But these court records obtained by CBS 12 tell a different story. These records from the state attorney's office say there was ongoing tension between the couple before Makiva's death. In May, Makiva reportedly told Yuri that she wanted a divorce, but changed her mind after learning she was pregnant. A close friend of Makiva's told investigators that Yuri wasn't happy about her pregnancy. Deputies had no idea who the masked gunman was until one of the witnesses inside the home at the time of the shooting came forward. Records show in August, Dimitri Dale told investigators he drove the to the scene of the crime moments before it happened. Dale said 19-year-old Jovan Joseph was the one who pulled the trigger. According to the public records, Dale wore a wire when Joseph said Yuri Jenkins gave him and $1,500 just 2 days before the crime. An ex-girlfriend told investigators Yuri kissed her the day before Makiva's murder and that Jenkins showed no emotion after her. The state attorney's office says they have no comment on why Yuri and Joseph aren't facing additional charges for the death of the unborn child. Live from the Breaking News Center, Nayela Charles, CBS 12 News.
Despite being confronted with the evidence, Yuri continued to deny any involvement in his wife's murder. He claimed that he had never intended to harm her, but the phone recording and Dimitri's testimony painted a very different picture. The chilling reality of a man willing to kill his wife for money was laid bare, and the prosecution was relentless in making sure that Yuri would face the consequences of his actions. As the trial against Yuri Jenkins began, the prosecution laid out their case with chilling precision. They presented the phone conversation between Yuri and Dimitri, showing how Yuri had hired Jovan to kill Makiva in exchange for a share of her life insurance money. However, Yuri's defense team did not go down without a fight. They tried to argue that the prosecution's case was based on unreliable testimony and inconsistent statements from Dimitri and Jovan. But it was clear that Yuri had been the mastermind behind the murder, and the jury quickly saw through the defense's arguments. After several weeks of testimony, the jury found Yuri Jenkins guilty of first-degree murder. The verdict was a moment of bittersweet relief for Makiva's family, but the damage had already been done.
Outside the courtroom after the guilty verdict, Makiva's relatives hugged in the hallway, visibly relieved.
We got justice, we got what we deserve. I mean, he got what he deserved.
Prosecutors would not comment as they left the courtroom, but State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg had this to say.
This was a long time coming, and Makiva Jenkins deserved justice, and I think we're able to restore a measure of justice to her and her loved ones today.
In May 2022, Yuri Jenkins was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in a mixture of emotions: anger, grief, and a sense of closure. Makiva's family and friends were devastated by the realization that the man they had once trusted with Makiva's life was the one who had ultimately ended it. Yuri, the father of her children, was responsible for the most unimaginable betrayal. The public reaction was one of shock and disbelief. Many who had known Yuri and Makiva were left reeling, unable to comprehend how a seemingly happy family could be torn apart by such dark secrets. With Yuri's sentence handed down, all eyes now turned to the man who pulled the trigger. While Yuri was the mastermind behind Makiva's death, Jovan Marquise Joseph, the man who pulled the trigger, also faced a long and complicated legal journey. After being arrested and indicted for first-degree murder, Jovan eventually reached a plea agreement with the state prosecutors. In exchange for his testimony against Yuri, Jorvan pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Though many felt Jorvan deserved a harsher sentence for his role in Makeva's death, the plea deal was seen as a necessary step to ensure that Yuri would be convicted. Jorvan's testimony provided the crucial evidence needed to secure a conviction, and it was hoped that his cooperation would bring some measure of justice for Makeva's family. However, the deal also raised many questions. Questions about the fairness of the legal system. Some argued that Jorvan's reduced sentence was too lenient, considering that he had taken a life for money. Others believed that the deal was justified, given his role in exposing the truth and ensuring that Yuri would face the consequences of his actions. Dimitri Dale, who had played a role in the plot to murder Makeva, was also sentenced. Initially charged with first-degree murder, Dimitri's sentence was dramatically reduced after he cooperated with the authorities. By providing crucial testimony against Yuri and Jorvan, Dimitri was convicted of manslaughter with a weapon and sentenced to just 45 days in jail, followed by probation. The decision to sentence Dimitri to a minimal punishment caused controversy, especially given the severity of his involvement in the crime. Many felt that his role in the conspiracy should have resulted in a harsher sentence. However, prosecutors emphasized that Dimitri's cooperation had been vital in securing the convictions of the other two suspects. In the end, Dimitri's sentence stood as a stark reminder of the complicated nature of legal proceedings and the lengths to which some people go to protect themselves. The conviction of Yuri Jenkins brought some sense of closure to Makeva's family, but it was clear that no legal resolution could ever undo the damage caused by his betrayal.
For the jury in the trial of Yuri Jenkins has found him guilty of hiring a hitman to kill his pregnant wife, Makeva Jenkins. The judge sentenced him to life in prison.
We, the jury, find as follows. As to count one, we find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment.
And the victim's family was visibly emotional as the jury read that verdict. Jurors deliberated for about an hour today before returning the verdict. Prosecutors say Jenkins hired a hitman to shoot and kill his wife while she was sleeping back in 2017. They argue that Jenkins was the mastermind behind the and wanted to collect $500,000 of his wife's life insurance money. Prosecutors say Jenkins believed that he was the beneficiary. He later learned that Makeva had named one of her relatives as the beneficiary. The state's case focused on two men who say they conspired with Jenkins to kill Makeva. After the jury delivered its guilty verdict, Makeva's mother spoke in the courtroom.
They came to the verdict I wanted them to have, but on neither side was a winner. I know how he has made his family feel, because they had no idea he could do something like this.
And Harold continued to say that she had nothing bad to say about Jenkins, and all she wants now is for everyone to find peace. Following Harold's statement, the judge sentenced Jenkins to life in prison. The defense does plan to file a motion of acquittal, saying the state presented an improper case by putting witnesses on the stand who, quote, perjured themselves.
The Jenkins family was left devastated by Makeva's death. Her mother, children, and siblings were torn apart by the betrayal of someone they had trusted. Makeva's brother, Markavius, who had been present during the attack, was left in shock, struggling to comprehend what had happened.
I was going crazy. Me not knowing what happened to Makeva just set me up a real uphill battle on, like, do I even deserve to be here? And I just try to wonder, what could I have done? And, I kind of blame myself for it, because I was supposed to die in that house, and I was supposed to die for Makeva.
Her children now had to grow up without their mother, all because of a toxic relationship that should have ended earlier. Yuri's actions caused a ripple effect in the community. Many people who had once seen the couple as an example of a successful, entrepreneurial power couple were left heartbroken and disillusioned. Despite his assurances of innocence, Yuri's behavior after Makeva's death including his attempt to collect her life insurance and his coldness during the funeral, only made him appear more guilty. Makeva's tragic death serves as a reminder of the dangers of toxic relationships and the devastating effects of betrayal. It's crucial to recognize the warning signs in relationships and trust your instincts when something doesn't feel right. For women especially, it's important to protect your independence, put your safety first, and never ignore red flags. The grief experienced by Makeva's loved ones was compounded by the complicated legacy of her life. While she had been a symbol of resilience and strength, having overcome homelessness and built a successful business, her death exposed the dark side of her seemingly perfect life. The toxic relationship with Yuri, his betrayal, and his calculated decision to murder her for money left a lasting mark on everyone who knew her. Her story is a painful reminder that no matter how strong and independent someone may seem, external forces like toxic relationships and financial desperation can pull even the brightest individuals into dark places. Despite the horrific events surrounding her death, Makeva's life continues to inspire those who knew her. Her entrepreneurial spirit, determination, and the way she lifted herself from hardship to success remain a powerful legacy. Makeva's story has become a symbol of perseverance and the importance of not allowing past setbacks to define one's future. Her rise from homelessness to earning a six-figure income proves that anyone can turn their life around with hard work, resilience, and determination. However, her tragic end also sheds light on the complex dynamics that can exist behind closed doors and the devastating consequences of betrayal. The story of Makeva Jenkins is a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers that can lurk in even the most seemingly perfect relationships. No one could have predicted that a woman who had overcome so much would be betrayed by the very person who was supposed to protect her. The case raises important questions about the dynamics of relationships and the impact that financial pressures and emotional betrayal can have on people's lives. Makeva Jenkins' story is one of resilience, love, and an eventual tragic end. It teaches us that while success is a beautiful thing, it does not guarantee immunity from the darkness that can lie within those closest to us. As her family moves forward, they hold on to the positive aspects of her life, including her unwavering love for her children and her passion for entrepreneurship. While her loss can never be undone, the fight for justice, for her children, and for the truth is one that will continue to echo. What do you think about it? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.